So I've been living with HIV for over 10 years, and you might think that the hardest part of this would be the health issues. It's not. I'm healthier than I've ever been, virus and all. See, I'm not the one who has the problem. He is. All right, so here's what happened. It was a cold January night, and I'm hanging out with this really cute guy. We're alone in his dorm again, and we're flirting real hard on the top bunk. See, this isn't the first time we hung out. The first time was back in October around Halloween. It was Halloween weekend. We were hanging out with our friends, going frat party hopping, and frat parties are just like really hectic. And he and I were like feeling each other, but like not the party, right? So we left to go hang out on our own. We went back to his dorm room, and things got pretty hot and heavy pretty quickly. We had a ton of chemistry. And I had to stop it kind of abruptly since I hadn't told him yet. So I got off of him. I took a deep breath and I said, I'm so sorry. I can't go any farther with you until I tell you first that I'm HIV positive. I have HIV. And he was super uncomfortable doing anything else for the rest of the night. And honestly, I totally got it. At that point, I had had 6 years to wrap my mind around things, but he was just a couple seconds in. So we just talked for the rest of the night. It was really nice. We had great conversation, and I was looking forward to seeing him again. So flash forward back to this cold January night. I'm thinking it's been 2.5 months since the first time we hung out. He's had all of this time to research what I had told him, that this is next to impossible to get from me, especially with me being on medication and undetectable like I am, and especially with us using protection like we were planning to. But he was acting weird about even kissing me. I leaned in for a kiss, and he was like, he like pursed his lips and everything. He was just like, and I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, I don't really like making out, even though we kissed like the entire time that first night we hung out, right? Of course, until I told him. But in the moment, I wasn't thinking about that. He's still showing me in other ways that he was interested. He was being flirtatious, and I was like, all right, well, whatever. So, I tease him a little bit, a couple articles of clothing come off, and I asked how he's feeling about getting a little bit more physical, and he shut down completely. He sat there in fetal position like this, and we sat in complete silence, probably for like 2 full minutes. It felt like forever. And then he looks up at me with these big, sad puppy dog eyes, and he says, how do you do it? I'm like, what? How do I do what? He's like, how do you keep living? How do you keep going? And I'm like, ugh, I don't want your pity. I want your penis, right? Stigma is insidious. It's the shade I catch with the way certain people ask me how I got it. It's that bitter taste as I respond saying it's none of your business and it shouldn't matter. Stigma is uncomfortable friction of abrupt penetration anytime someone is too scared to go down on me. It's the thought in the back of my head when someone will be intimate like that, are they nervous? Are they hesitating? Do they think I'm gross? Stigma is facing the word contagious every time I disclose to a potential partner. In this particular moment with this guy, it's the look of utter hopelessness and despair that I see written all over his face at the mere idea of living my life. It's the knot in my stomach. Because despite how annoyed I am right now, what I do is console him, make him feel better. I said, everything's going to be okay, and it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. And I meant it. I mean it. I really do. But why do I always have to make them feel better? Stigma is the shuffling of clothing as I race to cover my vulnerability. I don't feel safe anymore. I am constantly fighting to live in a world that I think should exist. I use my diagnosis and my resilience as fuel to my fire, inspiration for my art, reasons to be confident, and I'll be damned if I'm not sexy as hell. I get to be as seductive as I please. I can have sex for fun if I want to because I'm sexy. I have never felt more beautiful in my entire life, and I just came into my prime. I'm worth it. I want to live in a world that isn't afraid of me because the truth is common sense that this virus is not as contagious as everybody thinks it is. Not with how far medication has come. Not going to give this to you. I wanted him to give something else to me, but we all know how that turned out. I'm too sexy for this. Now, did I hear someone say sexy? Because sexy is so many things. It's the taste of lips between mine, feeling every inch of his skin underneath my fingertips. It's the lace panties that we can't slide down my thighs fast enough. It's his growing pupils as he sees my piercings for the first time. It's the arousing excitement of first contact, the adventure of exploring one another's sweaty bodies and all of our nasty humanity. Ugh. Sexy smells like lube and latex condoms. It sounds like uninhibited grunts and moans and screams. And I don't necessarily need someone else for that part. Mm-mm. Because sexy looks like me in front of a full-length mirror with the tool of my choice. It's having all the lights on so that I can see everything. It's the release of the kind of orgasm that only I know how to give myself, and it's the calming silence as I smile at my reflection when I'm finished. Sexy smells like, tastes like me.